All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you had a good break. For those of you who got a chance to rest a little bit, or if you got your lunch and all that, thank you so much for coming back to this session. We're super excited. Once again, this is CALA Cohort 4 Leadership Forum 2, and our next session is all about the virtual project showcase. We've been hearing a lot about these ALPs, these action learning projects, and we want to find out, okay, what does this look like? Some of us have been working very hard, so the delegates know how hard you have to work to get this going. But in this session, we're going to have a unique opportunity for delegates to showcase how they're weaving digital innovation and youth employment strategies into their action learning projects. We're going to have two teams, one from Ghana, the other from Uganda. Each team will make a structured presentation. We're going to share our project goals, their key adaptations inspired by forum learnings, what they're learning, how they're applying it. We're going to be having a sharing of how these interact with the real world possibilities and some of the challenges that they've encountered so far. I want you to remember that this session is all about peer learning, idea sharing, and reinforcing the link between hands-on project work and the larger vision of digital transformation and inclusive economic growth. Are you excited to get started? I need you to type, if you are, type a big yes in the chat. So capital Y, capital E, capital S, if you're super excited. If you're half excited, you can use small letters. But if you're really excited, use big letters. I want to gauge that energy before we jump in. And when our teams come on, I want you to welcome them very warmly with your emojis if you have access to that, or if you just have access to the text, you can use that as well. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to get that going. Okay, fantastic. Okay, very good. All right, so in order for us to get started, I want us to go ahead and just give you a bit of direction. We're going to start with Team Ghana, and then we'll segue to Team Uganda. The structure of it is going to be that we will have 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes of a presentation from the teams. And as they share, if you have a question or an insight, please put it in the chat so that we can respond to that. After that 7 to 10 minutes, we'll give it about 5 to 7 minutes as well of response. So if you have a question, an insight, put it in there so we can respond to it. And after about 15 minutes, we will switch to the second team. And then after that, we'll be sharing our common learning and see how we can use this kind of sharing, this kind of presentation. How can we benchmark? How can we learn from the teams that are sharing? And maybe how can we add value to what they have shared? Again, this is CALA Cohort 4 Leadership Forum 2, and this is the beginning of our virtual project showcase. All right. Now, as we get that the slides up ready for the first team, I want also to remind you of the country cohort totals. So if you've been working with the platform, you see the points are changing, and we are tracking how many points each country is getting. This is the update. So the last time I checked, before we get into the presentations, the last time I checked, we have Ethiopia at the top with 2,000 plus. Then we have, let's see, we have the next country. Well, let me just leave it at that. Let me leave it at that. So Ethiopia is ranking at the top. So if you haven't been interacting as a team, we are putting up our scores and want to make sure that you get the most. We want to make sure that you're highly interactive at that level so that you can win the top mark, okay? All right, so without any further ado now, let's move to our first team. And our first team is going to be represented. This is Team Aggravate, and Amabel is going to be representing the team. Amabel is the head of partnerships and new markets at Grow For Me. Grow For Me Limited is a web-based agricultural crowdfunding platform that funds farmers to scale and increase their yields. She, in her role, is the agronomist and consultant that she is, empowering and influencing women and youth in agriculture using her expertise and passion for the industry to increase yield and make food accessible. Amabel, welcome. Oh, sorry, you're on mute. There you go.
Good morning from Ghana, and thank you.
Good morning.
Kwaba from Team Aggravate.
Kwaba, well, I'll go off video and give you an opportunity to present, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you. Good morning, team. So by way of introduction, you meet Team Agrivate, made up of Faustina, Selena, both regional district directors from Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We have Justina Marigold, a regional minister, and then Sadat, an agri-food system advocate. So as a way of introduction, our action learning project is focused on promoting the adoption and consumption of local rice, specifically the Central Agra rice from Asin Ekropon in Ghana, the Central region. Coming up, you realize that we see how Ghana consumes over 1.3 million metric tons of rice annually, with over 60% of this imported into the country. Our next slide basically focuses on the struggle of local rice with poor consumer visibility, also suffering from negative consumer perception and weak market access, despite the industry's significant production capacity. Our goal for this APL is that by November 2025, we would be able to increase consumer awareness, scale youth employment, and enhance market access through storytelling, digital content, and e-commerce platform. Our APL basically is anchored around a 10,000 metric ton rice milling facility, which is supported by strong farmer cooperative union, and it aligns with the regional flagship Plant 1 More Square Meter, which enhances productivity whilst emphasizing quality and visibility. Our project approach basically is a smart youth-driven and digitally powered approach. We are building a branded identity for local rice, setting up a youth-led agribusiness distribution model, and incorporating digital innovation. And all this is anchored in a public-private partnership. How did we come about all these goals and then project topic? Our ALP journey basically gave us a structure and space to interrogate the root of our challenge and evaluated alternative approaches and selected a high impact pathway. So initially, our ideas were very broad, focused on general distribution and e-commerce, trying to find the easy way out. But through problem-solving framework and evaluator review, and I want to say a big thank you to Brenda, Bilha, and Lizel, who helped us to basically identify branding and consumer trust were more than urgent bottlenecks than just logistics alone. And Brenda also made us understand how youth stories could be a powerful bridge between production and perception. So using the ALP design thinking tools, we redefine our focus on a youth-led digital content strategy that integrated storytelling, branding, e-commerce, and youth employment. This deliberate reevaluation helped us to choose a solution that tackled both market trust and youth inclusion. Most importantly, rather than just moving the rice from farm to the shelf. With our strengthened youth role, can we go back? With our strengthened youth role, we basically looked at digital innovation as the engine of our solution. And that we deployed looking at 10 trained digital youth running social media campaigns, building brand identity, and managing web-based ordering systems. And this youth would be using a QR code pilot to link consumers to stories behind the rice they are buying and eating. And just from yesterday's forum, I'm excited to say that we came to a realization that we needed to look at bilingual storytelling. Initially, we were looking at just doing everything in English, but this forum brought us to the understanding that it was important to emphasize the importance of local dialect and relatable content. And with improved stakeholder engagement, a major breakthrough for us during the ALP model on navigating the landscape and building influence for project success. It taught us that a successful implementation depended not just on what, but on the who and how you get them to be onboarded. As a result, we basically reshape our stakeholder engagement strategy to include youth voices in decision-making. We approach the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, retail partners, and I remember when we were talking to our evaluator, I told her this was not going to be possible looking at the time frame, and she insisted we give it a try. And when we did, we are seeing a sharper, better articulated value proposition, and which emphasize youth employment, environmental sustainability, and local economic impact. We are now co-developing offtake agreement with retailers and public agencies using influencers as tool and not just advocacy. So from the next slide, our model, we basically see that we are going to engage a youth-led distribution and enterprise model that is going to employ 30 youth aggregators involved in collection and logistics, basically. And we are having 15 distribution agents supplying to retail outlets and then institutions, whilst 10 digital marketers build online presence for the local rice. And then we have 20 eco-entrepreneurs who will be repurposing rice byproducts into briquettes and soilless media for composting. In total, we are creating 40 new direct jobs and enhancing 15 existing youth livelihoods. Our training involves digital marketing, entrepreneurship, and eco-innovation, which is delivered on collaboration with partners like Go4Me, Nanchi Ghana Limited, and Chamber of Agribusiness and Youth Employment Agency in Ghana. This project basically aligns with our national flagship program, specifically Feed the Ghana project, which seeks to boost agricultural production, create jobs, and reduce food inflation. Our ask basically and our need for this project is additional digital marketing training partners. So can we go to the next slide? We are really looking at leveraging on experiences from our colleagues, delegates, all the people present in here to really have additional experiences in the digital marketing space. And specifically, we are inviting Acumen Resilient Agricultural Fund to help with tricycle loans for youth in mobility, and also collaboration with agri-retail platforms, existing platform. We don't want to create new platforms, but leveraging existing platform to onboard the locally produced rice. What we are building is more than just a rice marketing campaign. We are actually looking at a movement for food sovereignty and then youth enterprise and digital inclusion. And through the ALP, we've gained not only clarity of purpose, but I might say we've gained confidence in our refined strategy. And this has been backed by data, peer learning, evaluator mentoring, and lived experiences. We are now seeking partnership to expand digital training programs and also join our visibility campaigns and e-commerce expansion. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we hope to answer most of your questions.
Fantastic. Let's appreciate Amabel. Well done, Team Agrivate. I can see lots of support from Team Ghana. You don't have to only be Team Ghana. Let's appreciate Team Amabel, Team Agrivate. Thank you, Amabel, for that presentation. So we have about 5 minutes. I'd like us to get into some questions. So if you have a question or contribution towards what Amabel has just shared from what the work that Team Agrivate has just done, please put it in the chat. We'll respond to that shortly. But I just wanted to, in case for those who may have missed it, Amabel, just walk me through. What would you say is the central challenge that your LLP addresses?
So the central challenge basically that we are tackling is lack of visibility and poor consumer perception.
Sorry, tell me more about that. Why is that a challenge?
So in Ghana, the imported rice has taken over the industry. So Ghanaians consume lots of rice, but out of the 100%, we have almost 60% rice imported. And with the government flagship programs to scale rice production, a number of activities were done, basically in building more irrigation areas to expand rice production in the country to meet the consumption demand. But what we realized was that the local industry was faced with challenges, consumer acceptability of the locally produced rice, also because that came with the milling challenges. So the locally produced rice were not up to the quality standards that the imported rice have. So that caused the locally produced rice to suffer a brand visibility and poor consumer perception. So this particular ALP is focused on a new ultra-modern rice milling facility that was put together in partnership with the government of Ghana and the Korean government to ensure that these perceptions were cleared off so that the local industry could strive.
Very well done. Well done. I'm also curious, what have you learned in this process with the program that you're on, with the Color program, that has really helped you with this particular efforts?
So I must say the Color program has really shaped us as a team. From the onset, I think we were trying to take the easy way out. Okay, this is the problem. So let's just do in and let's go get market accessibility. But the ALP really took time to make us understand that it goes beyond just seeing the root problem. Beneath the problems are problems that needed to be resolved. So we basically worked day and night. And I remember sometimes our evaluator calling in the middle of the night, the team getting so tired and exhausted. But we got to understand that we are now really solving the actual problems. And we were not just solving a problem, but we were able to just turn the entire project to become a youth-led project rather than just trying to solve a market access problem. So the ALP, I must say, really shaped us to focus on very relatable language, inclusive stories, and then a strong institutional buy-in. So when you look at our slides, and if Andrew could go some steps down, you see that the entire project model is anchored in an entire partnership. Andrew, please go back to the model. So there are lots of players beyond private institutions. You have government institutions playing a role.
Various stakeholders, huh?
Making the model very scalable across every region in the country.
Okay. Now I noticed there's youth aggregators, youth in digital marketing. Final question before we go to Team Uganda. How does all this directly translate into youth employment and the work that we want to do in that space?
Okay, so when you look at how the model is structured, there are a lot of stakeholders, but the youth are the central players between the farmer, who is the last mile actor, and then the industry, where we have the processing facility, and then we have the digital platforms. Now, the youth are helping the farmers to move their commodities right from the farm to the industry. And in moving the commodities, these youth are being supplied with some form of tricycle loans by government agencies so that they are able to move and they get paid at a fee by the farmers for moving their commodities from the farms to the processing facility. And the processing facility also have holding sites where the youth can continuously aggregate commodities. And that also comes with some commission-based payments for the number of commodities they are aggregating for the facility. Then on the digital side, and then on the logistics side, we have youth who are basically selling out and telling the story of locally produced rice and the processes that it basically goes through, whilst we have the others distributing the packaged rice to retail shops and then homes and institutions. So that is how the job is being created. And beneath that, we have the value addition, where at the rice hacks, which is a byproduct for milling, which is also one of the significant challenges in rice producing areas in Ghana. We are resolving that by getting additional 20 youths to turn these hacks into briquettes so that we reduce charcoal, cutting of trees for charcoal production. And then we have women who are producing compost to produce vegetables and sell them out. So that is how we are creating youth.
Well, on behalf of everyone who is listening, I also want to lend my voice to say, I'm so glad you did not take the easy way out. Because even from the response that you give, it's a richer response, and you're seeing the whole chain that's benefiting from the youth, from the farmers who are growing the food, the produce, to the youth who are involved in the middle and all the other players. So thank you very much. Maybe a quick reflection. Chikondi was asking, has the gap, I mean, if we're having 60% of rice being imported, now I need a quick answer for this one before we get to Team Uganda. But if we're importing 60% rice, has the government considered banning or at least dropping the percentage of importation for rice? Could you, just a quick comment, Andrew, as we get to the Uganda slides?
Yes, so government has put policies in place to control the importation of locally produced, imported rice, sorry.
So there's policies that are coming in place for that. Okay. Fantastic. Amabel, thank you so much. Thank you, Team Ghana. Thank you, Team Agrivate, for the time and the attention that you put into this and the hard work that goes into this kind of work. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll come back to that if we have some time with Team Ghana. But now let me segue into Team Uganda. That is going to be represented by Stuart Ategeka. Stuart Ategeka is the project manager at Easy Agri, which is an ag tech company that integrates ICT to bridge the information and service delivery gap between farmers and agribusinesses. He is deeply passionate about sustainable food systems and using innovation to improve smallholder farmers' livelihoods, productivity, and resilience. And he's going to be making the presentation on behalf of Team Uganda. Just reminding you, we have 7 to 10 minutes of a presentation, and then about 6 or so after that for some Q&A. So as soon as the question comes in, put it in the chat, otherwise we won't have time to come back to it. Stuart, welcome, and over to you.
All right, thank you, Sam, for those kind words and that very kind introduction. I'll be representing Team Uganda, that is the Team Honeybees. We're a team of 5 comprised of David, who works with Koika, then Frank works with the National Agricultural Research Organization, Margaret, who serves at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and Paul, who works at Michigan Fellows Initiative. Our topic is, our project is aimed at enhancing the availability of improved coffee seedlings. And why, the question would be why coffee among all crops? Because we have a wide range of crops in Uganda, but historically, since the 1950s, coffee has been contributing significantly to Uganda's foreign exchange earnings. And the major key varieties that we have are Robusta, and very interestingly, Robusta coffee is native to Uganda. Its birthplace is in Uganda, so it was discovered in Uganda. And in addition to that, coffee supports over 1.7 million households. But most importantly, our LP is strategically aligned with the National Development Plan 4, because among the crops, the major crops that have been targeted in the National Development Plan 4, coffee ranks #1 out of the 13 crops. And in terms of yield and production, Uganda is Africa's second largest coffee producer, just behind Ethiopia. And globally, it's among the 10 exporters of coffee. Last year, Uganda actually exported 6.4 million bags. Yeah, let's move on. And we decided to implement our project in one of the districts in central Uganda. I should highlight that at the beginning of the project, we were looking at central Uganda, which was quite a bigger area. We're looking at almost about 5 districts. with the guidance from Brenda and the team and our mentors, we've been able to really narrow down this and really focus on one district, and how we're able to really identify this one district, which is Buikwe district. One, it's because it is located in Buganda region, which is Uganda's leading coffee producing region, because it produces about 35% of the coffee output. But in addition to that, it is situated along the shores of Lake Victoria, where we have a wide number of youth, a very huge population of the youth, who are striving to find alternative income generating opportunities. And this is because they've been evicted from the lake, because the government has implemented a lot of efforts to stop illegal fishing activities, and these were being spearheaded by the youth. So because of this, this very district has become the epicenter for one of the government's projects on trying to provide alternative income generating opportunities, with a project called Strategic Campaign on Alternative Income Generating Activities for Fishing Communities in Uganda. So it's a pilot that will be scaled out in other areas. And because of this, among the crops that have been prioritized is coffee. So this has increased the demand for coffee in this area. The key challenges we'll be looking at to solve in this project. The key challenge is that there is scarcity of improved Robusta coffee seedlings among the coffee farming households in Buikwe district. And of course, this results in reduced yields, and of course impacts both the domestic and the international coffee markets for Uganda. What have been the major contributing factors? What we really realized is that there is limited capacity of the certified seedling nurseries, which are the multiplication centers, whereas there are a number of nurseries, their capacity to produce enough seedling or planting materials is still very low. Then there's a high demand for the improved Robusta coffee seedlings, but there is insufficient coffee seedling distribution system. We have a number of nurseries producing small volumes, but even the small volumes they are producing, there isn't efficient systems to help in getting this to the farmers. Then the private sector engagement also still remains very limited, but also the funding is still constrained. For the funding for the research and development, be it from government or any other funding agencies, is limited to the coffee sector. But what also exacerbates the challenge is that the climate-related challenges such as drought, floods, also make it challenging for coffee to really be produced very well. Then there's also knowledge gaps among the farmers in coffee seedling handling. So with all this, we are looking at implementing, in our implementation, our overall goal is to really ensure that we enhance the availability of the improved Robusta coffee seedling among the coffee growing households in Buikwe district by the end of 2025. And within our specific objectives, we really want to see to it that we improve farmers' awareness about certified Robusta coffee seedlings within the rural areas of Buikwe district. Because if you look at Robusta coffee, there are a number of lines that have been bred by our National Coffee Research Organization. But if you go down to the farmers, you realize that there is very limited awareness about these improved varieties. So we really want enhance the awareness about these certified Robusta coffee seedlings. But in addition to that, we really want to strengthen the youth-led coffee seedling enterprises. So we will be targeting nurseries that are owned or where youth are employed. So we'll be specific on this, on how we'll be targeting the nurseries we'll be working with. The most important bit, which has been coming up, for example, what we've really looked at in the forum since yesterday, has been digital. So within our LP, at the center of it, we really want to develop a replicable and scalable youth-led digital model that will help in enhancing the marketing, but also the access to these certified coffee seedlings. And we have a sample of the app enhancements that we'll be looking at. And within this model, we'll be working with an already established agritech company, that is EasyAgric. And by working with it, we are looking at creating 3 income streams through which the youth can be able to generate some income. One of it is that we're looking at the digital seedling agents. We'll be working with at least 10 youth, 50% female. We're very specific because we want inclusion. We want 50% to be female, to be supporting in creating orders for farmers who would like to buy the seedlings. So they place the orders through a digital platform, which is the EasyAgric app. And by placing these orders, they should be able to earn a commission or service fee per transaction or per order. Then the other income pathway will be enhancing the access to coffee inputs. Still, we'll be working with 10 youth, 50% female. So besides the seedlings, we know that coffee farming, the seedlings themselves are not enough. You need fertilizer, you need pesticides. So still the 10 youth should be able to support in placing orders still through this digital platform. And by placing those orders, they should be able to earn bulk purchase discounts because they'll be placing orders for a wide range of farmers, and also earn commissions from the input suppliers for every successful order placed. But for this to be sustainable, would want these youth, because we call them the digital agriculture champions, to remain as digital platform facilitators. So they should be able to link them to other digital platforms, not just one platform, so they can remain in the ecosystem as digital agriculture champions who can be able to go ahead with this kind of business and be able to generate some revenue from the work they'll be doing. Yeah, let's look at the sample of the app enhancements we'll be looking at. So there is the EasyAgric app, which already has e-extension, but we have already analyzed the kind of information it has on e-extension. So we'll be enhancing information on the coffee farming practices, but also when it comes to inputs, we'll identify more input suppliers that will be onboarded to this platform, the suppliers that supply coffee-specific inputs, so that the e-commerce platform for inputs is enhanced. Then the nurseries will also be onboarded onto this platform, such that the seedlings can be ordered for by the digital agriculture champions from the platform, and then they are delivered to the farmers who are in need of these seedlings. And we're looking at partnering with a number of other several key stakeholders. If we could move on. Next slide. Yeah. So one of the key partners we're looking at partnering with, and we've already engaged with these partners and had their buy-in. At the top of them is the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, who are in charge of seed certification, regulation, and monitoring. We already have a contact person we're working with, the National Agricultural Research Organization, and to be specific, the National Coffee Research Institute. This will help us with the latest findings and help us in sourcing the training materials and early germination seedlings. Then the World Coffee Research, that is for global linkage, research statistics, and germplasm conservation. Nucafe, who are very key actors in the coffee industry in Uganda. So these will help us in availing training materials, sharing experiences on coffee with the youth and other value chain expertise. But
Yeah.
specifically for Buike district, we'll be working with local government that will help us in availing information about the coffee farmers and the nursery operators within district, the mobilization of the youth, the nursery operators, so that they can be able to be part of the project. Then an Agitech company, which is Easy Agri, and its role will mainly be information technology, the digital aspects of our project.
Stuart,
But, yep.
can I interrupt you, Stuart? I want to save 5 minutes so that we can get some responses. I see lots of people contributing, and I want to say thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause to Team Uganda, Honeybees, Team Honeybees, very good. And for those of you who didn't know, honeybees are actually related to this whole coffee ecosystem. So if you're not familiar with that, but let me move to some of the contributions that have just come through. Let me see. So let me just, I think there was 1 or 2 contributions, then I'll ask the question. Emily says, I think coffee almost became a political prop until some institutional changes took place. We hope not to get it with the current government initiatives. I guess someone is commenting on the current environment. Quick answer though, Stuart, from you. Are the seedlings produced yet, or are you going to work with the existing seedling producers?
Okay, we'll be working with existing nursery operators, and we'll be just looking at how to scale their operations, but also integrate the digital model so that the access is enhanced.
Okay. I'm just going to do a quick fire because of the number of questions. Yeah. Jean-Marc is asking, would it be feasible to turn to regional certification institutions or companies such as those based in Africa or East Africa to accelerate this certification process? Would that be helpful for you?
Well, that would be helpful, but for a coffee nursery to be certified, it's certified locally, which processes, of course, involves the regional body. But for you to certify your coffee nursery, you go through the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Industry and Fisheries. That is Ugandan based. But beyond that, of course, we'll still work with the same ministry to see how we can take this certification beyond Uganda itself.
Thank you. Emmanuel has a contribution. Emmanuel from Nigeria says, I think Africa continent needs to deliberately focus on policy shift to enhance value addition to cocoa to increase opportunities for job growth. So I guess Emmanuel speaking from Nigeria, speaking to cocoa, and Stuart is focused on coffee, and all of us are focused on our key country flagships. Under one of the things that you were getting to, you said one of the lessons that came through was that AgTech alone is not enough. Please share that with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. So we got to realize that if you really want to solve anything agricultural, the factors of production remain the same. So the factors of production remain land, water, and sunshine. So Agitech alone is not going to bring you rain, or it's not going to bring you sunshine. So you really need to think beyond. If you're talking about, are you doing to support the farmer scale their production at nursery level? Is there any production constraint that you can look at and solve it, then be able now to introduce the digital model? So we've also been able to really integrate that into our learnings and see how it can improve our ALP.
Faustina has a comment. She says, coffee used to be one of the major export crops in Ghana until we ended up putting all our eggs in one basket. Perhaps that's a reflection on something that can change. And then let's see what we have. Maybe I wanted you to share what you had come up with as a missing link. You said something about collaboration as a missing link. Please share, because I know that also can affect other projects.
Yeah, sure. So we got to realize that there are several stakeholders along the value chain. And if you look at how the kind of work they're doing right now, you'll find several partners replicating similar activities. But if we are to really promote this industry, we need to work together. in agro, we always talk of food systems, the systems thinking. So how can we apply that within the coffee business? If we're talking about applications developed for this industry, why would somebody build a new application? You already have an existing application. It would be best to look at how you complement this platform and create synergies that can be able to move you forward. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Stuart Ategeka, thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Thank you to Team Honeybees. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been in attendance here. We've been sharing and we've been learning about how we can move forward, how we can apply all the things that we're learning into our ALPs, moving not just from individual transformation, but in the different countries. How can we cross-pollinate? How can we learn from Ghana? What are they doing with rice? How can we apply some of those lessons from Stuart and the team in Uganda? How can we apply some of the lessons they're learning in their efforts towards changing the face of coffee growing and reaching and providing employment to youth and so on, to all the different ALPs that we'll be interfacing with. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the dedication. And right now, I want to hand you over to segue and to transition to the next session where we're going to be looking at a call to action, okay? But now you'll have to finish this session and then go to the platform and click for the next session. I've left you about 3 minutes so that you can transition. You'll have that session for 45 minutes. It's a panel conversation. Lilian Githinji is going to be working with the team there, and it's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for being here, and God bless.
Thank you, Sam, for having us.